What is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another live stream. My name's Lewis, also known as MrCameraJunkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. Episode or week number 75 of the Camera Junkie live stream, consecutive weeks every Saturday night. And as always, I thank you for spending your most precious commodity, which is your time here with me on the Camera Junkie live stream. And to get things started, let me say what's up to the Camera Junkie crew who is here. Right off the bat, we have Randall saying hello to everyone. All right, that sounds good. All right, and then we also have Dr. Charles Richard saying hello to the junkies and to everyone here. The Paul Duncan, master moderator, thank you as always for hanging out here. Says, I'm ready for showtime. Grab me a Budweiser and 2 jalapeno sausage hot dogs. I'm ready. That sounds good, man. Jalapeno sausage hot dogs. And then he says, no keto diet for me. Jalapenos. Says, burn all the bad stuff. Check that out. I'd never heard that before, but seems legit. Seems legit. Sly is here. Hi, Sly. Saying happy Saturday to everyone. Guacamole chips at the ready. Oh, everybody's got their snacks, man. I guess I'm the only one who's missing out. I don't even have a drink today. Where is my head? Oh my God, I'm going to grab a water in a second, so I'll take care of that. All right. And says, I believe your future will have heartburn in it. Says Randall. Okay, I'm losing my mouse here. There we go. Okay. And Randall also says happy Mother's Day to all the ladies, to all the moms. Yes, and I agree. And if you do have the luxury to still have your mother in your life, I wish you all the best, and make sure that if you can spend time with her, do so tomorrow, and if not, make sure at least call to say thank you. And as you can hear, Mr. Aiden is here, and you know what? That's a perfect segue, because Senor Peter Gregg asked me for something yesterday, which is the new Aiden cam, where you can see Sir Aiden hanging out there as he plays around in the background. So that's just something that Peter Gregg asked for in yesterday's stream, so I decided to make it happen. So there you go, a little bit of Aiden into the stream. Well, let's continue here. Okay. Says, thanks, Randy. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Right? And then we also have Scott Rogers saying hello to the crew. Images by Gretchen is saying hello. How are you doing, Gretchen? Welcome. Okay. And she says, ready for the illumination, the lights from Lewis. Well, yeah, I'm going to go through my behind the scenes, because I added a couple of lights, and see if you can notice the difference, because I'm going to start turning things on and off to show exactly where I was just last week, and kind of like the little bit of upgrades that are now actually becoming much better upgrades than what I thought. Says, I went to the movies, saw Doctor Strange twice. Nice. And Scott says he's having a mushroom Swiss burger with onion rings. That also sounds good. Everybody's got the food going. Hey, John is here. He's saying hi, crew, just adding for the happy Mother's Day. And then we also have Peter Gregg saying the best part, no offense. So just so that, see if we can get that going a little bit again. Hanging out there. Senor Aiden just watching his cartoons as I do my live stream. All right. Well, with that being said, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to just hit that like button. Is highly appreciated. It goes a long way. It costs you nothing, and it just makes everything run the way it should. And with that being said, tonight's topic is lighting, and lighting is something that I take pride in as a photographer, to make sure that you get appropriate lighting, things like that, even toning, and most importantly, correct colors. Colors is subjective, But one thing that you want to do is try to get it as close to lifelike, or as close to, you know, your natural eye as possible. One of the things that I did here in my room slash studio to start the entire premise of how I was going to design the colors and the scheme for my studio here was the fact that I went and I painted all of the walls gray. When I first moved in here, there were brown walls, which were just hideous. And if you know anything about colors, that's something that's going to suck up the light instead of actually like bounce it off correctly. And how I knew that I was going to be playing with RGBs and different types of color schemes, and didn't know exactly how I was going to, or what was going to be my finished product. I wanted to have the leniency to be able to do pretty much whatever I wanted to do with the color scheme. So the first thing that I did was I made sure that all the walls were gray, so that whatever color I decided to add to that, I would be able to bounce that off. So I'm gonna go over here real quick to my overhead cam. Oh, that's my side cam, my overhead cam. And I'm gonna go into my phone. Let's turn it on. Make sure that it recognizes my face and show you just a couple of the apps that I'm using. Let's see if I can get some, you know, contrast there. One of them is called Magic Home. That's the one that controls all of my RGBs, basically like all of my bulbs. And then this Happy Lighting is the one that I actually got for the 2 new light bulbs that I just picked up. Those 2 light bulbs are really not bulbs, they're like flood lamps. They're designed to cast a lot of light outdoors, but they're also designed for, like, I guess for the holidays, so that you can mix and match a variety of different colors and paint the outside of your home with these lights. So they were on sale on Amazon, and they were under like $15 a piece, so it was like a set of 2 for like $28. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot because I can control it with an application. So I brought them over, and I'm going to turn those off right now so that you can see the difference that they are already making to my set as of right now. So I'm gonna turn off these 2 lights, and as you can see, that was basically my set as of last week, or the color scheme that I had going, which was the colors with the blue. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off all of the lights entirely and start turning them on step by step, so that you can see how I've been able to cast the color throughout my set here. Now, the only light that's gonna stay on is basically that little light there that's not remote controlled, and the one that's basically hitting my hand over here, which is causing like kind of my hair light, because there's a plethora of different lights crisscrossing to get the effect that I want. And this is something that I actually take a lot of time into and put a lot of it, because it's like painting the picture. So first that I'm going to do is how I turned off those lights, I'm going to go full blast, full power, all white, like if I was just home. And now this is pretty much what kind of looks normal. You're still seeing this one pink hue throwing in the back. That's also a little handheld light that I just can't turn off via the switch. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn off all of the bulbs. There we go. And these are actually, you know what, give me a second. I'm gonna go full power again, and let me turn off that light so that I can get the correct effect. All right, and now we're just gonna leave basically one light on. Boom. Oh, this is supposed to be off as well. It said all off. Okay, because it's not scanning. So I will do that manually. Boom. There we go. Don't worry about electronics. So right now, this is basically my hair light. It is the only light besides the screen that I have on for my set right now. So this is, as you can see, cast the light over my shoulders, my dome here, the hair light. This is what's separating me from the darkness and eventually all of the lights that I'm gonna end up throwing behind me. So now that I have this separation, the first step that I want to do is start lighting myself correctly. So all right, so I have this light here, and let me go ahead and turn on said key light. All right, so this is my main key light here, and now as you can see with the separation in the hair light, it's also going to be adding the correct light for me in sort of like a soft 45-degree angle. It wraps nice, and this is what some people would actually be okay with. This is what they call Rembrandt lighting. Basically, you're just casting like a triangle of light onto my right side, which is the signature of Rembrandt lighting. You see me constantly looking off to the side here because I'm constantly looking at what steps I'm going through in this phase, but just giving you all of the details. As you can see, my beard now is casting a shadow on my shirt, which is now what I'm going to eliminate with the next step, which is my fill light. My fill light is a smaller light that I have here, so I'm gonna go and hit this light over here. And we have the key light, but now I'm gonna turn on this fill light, which is gonna fill in all of the darkness that you're seeing here, which is also being cast over me. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, that was the manual one. Boom. Okay, and as you can see, now that that's lit, let's go back to my front one, and now we have like good lighting. This right here is nice and soft, main and the key. We also have the fill here. This is basically good to go, and with this is more than enough for anything that you would want to do, but as always, I take it to that next extra step. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I also want to add a little bit more lights. So I have a couple of lights that are behind my television monitors here, which I'm also going to turn on. Boom. So that's just adding more ambient or more like native light here to my little bubble, but that hair light is still separating me from the background and also separating the background from catching all of this light, because I want to be able to control that light separately from what I'm doing here so that it doesn't spill over. That's one of the main reasons why. Let me see if I can show you over here, that you would have these grids onto these soft boxes. So I have one here and also here, and these grids are actually just controlling the light from spilling everywhere in places where I don't want to, and in this case being my background. So I want to keep the light here native to my location. That way I'll be able to continue to build on what we have there. So I do have a couple of accent lights which I'm gonna go ahead and turn on. This one is just a light on my top shelf, and I'm not sure if you can see it right there, but I'm going to move the camera up a bit, and that's the light that I just turned on, the one that's sitting there with my cameras, but my angle is set a little bit lower, but that's the first step. And then this remote will also turn on those blue lights, which is casting over my back wall there. So that's already lighting, but like I said, I also have every single light in this place Wi-Fi controlled, so I just continue to build. Another thing that I have is a secondary angle. So because I built this secondary angle here and it's part of my stream, I also want to light that correctly. The fill light is what's giving me the appropriate lighting so that I'm exposed correctly. But then I'm gonna come over here to my light. Let me see which one this is. There we go. Boom. Oh, it turned on white. It shouldn't be white. It should be blue. Okay. And there we go. So now I have that blue light casting over onto my vertical blinds, but as you can see that now that's casting the same type of color that I have in the background onto this wall, so that when we switch back and forth, as you can see now, you see the glow hanging out over here, and we're continuing to like paint our scene with color. But the color scheme that works best for my skin tone is actually the blue with the magenta, kind of creating like a purple, but like fuchsia magenta pink is a color that works well with my skin tone. So even though it's not my favorite color, it's not a color that I dislike, and because it works well with my complexion is why I decided to go with that route, and then is just now it's part of like my branding. So with that, I'm going to now start adding the magenta colors. Let me go back here, and I'm going to, which light? Okay, I have the ceiling lights, and the ceiling lights, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to, no, not white. I'm going to add the same magenta color, which is just going to add a little bit of glow and fill to it. And then I'm going to go one by one, my little like fill light in the back. Boom, cast just a little bit more pink, as you can see there. A little bit more magenta. What else am I missing here? I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And now the last one is actually this light that I had mentioned before. It's my spotlight, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on now. That's gonna cast the biggest cast of the magenta color, and it's also going to give a sharp line that's going to cut right here where my hand is, in between, separating the back magenta to the front blue, and then it's also going to be cast in the perfect position where we will see it through the secondary angle. So let me go ahead and do that. All right. There we go. So as you can see, that's pretty much where I was at as of last week, and that's where I had my live stream. So now as you can see, we go to the secondary angle. You also see the magenta line being cut in the back, so that it's adding part of the same colors, the same type of branding to it. So that is where I was at. But the thing is that at the end of the day, this is still a bit of a dark like live stream, or a dark set. So even though I love the colors, I wanted to get more light out of it. What I ended up doing was picking up those flood lamps, and now I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on one at a time. Boom. Okay, the first one, I don't think that was the color. There we go. I'm gonna go with actually blue to add just more light. And the secondary light, gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and turn on. Boom. Yeah, and there you go. So now when I link these two, this app, unfortunately, for these floodlights is not as easy to use as the other one, but it's not the end of the world. I usually have them set together, so even though the colors, you know, like once you set them, you're able to just turn them on and off with a flick of a button. But as you can see, you can tell the difference in the brightness that just these simple lights cast, because they brighten up everything, including the blue right in this area as well. So I am very, very impressed with all of the extra light, and for $30, well worth it. But that is pretty much my set now, so that as I rotate through the scenes, you can see the magenta and the blue hues throughout every step except this one. And then we have the Aiden cam as he hangs out and plays while I do the live stream. And that is the rotation. And now I'm gonna go ahead and check back in with you to see what you guys thought, see if you had any questions, And yeah, let's get to it. Let's get back to the chat. Okay. Okay, we're kind of a little backed up, so yeah, I need to get to it. Okay, so Paul's saying don't forget to hit the like button. So yes, remember to hit the like button. It's highly appreciated. It says Big Mac with large fries, frappe mocha, no sleep tonight, says Randall. And yes, also Paul is letting you know that if you have a question, please put a Q colon in front of it. That will allow me to find it a lot easier. It's highly appreciated. And like he says, it should look like this. Otherwise, it's just a comment. Oh, this is a new scene that I decided to make. The double up. Also, let me know what you guys think. All right. Jared Spink is in the house. How you doing, sir? Says, I added the thumbs up. Marga is here. How you doing, Marga? Thank you for stopping by. Says, hi, Sly. Okay, so we're still saying hello to each other. Okay, says, how are we doing? How's 80 doing? Says Lewis, and he's doing good. Excuse me, you just saw him a little while ago on the new Aiden cam, as per Peter Gregg's request. And he says, yes, happy Mother's Day to you and both roles. I'll take that. Thank you. Okay, so he's asking Mexico or NYC. Actually, she's here in Miami. We were supposed to meet up, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. All right. So Carlos is also here saying, hey, everyone. Let's see what Mr. Camera Junkie has for us tonight. I had lights. Says, looking good. Is that the invention transformer mic? Yeah, the transformer-less microphone. Yes, my handmade, limited edition Shure SM57V. V is for Vega. It says, Mr. Mother, yes, but I think my Airbnb fell through. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that as well. That's what Paul's saying here. Says the mysterious MCJ. That was when all my lights must have been out. It's like a happy light wash. I think it takes a lot of power. My electricity bill runs high. My LED lights think they're good for energy savers. They actually are. So, I got the Happy Lights wash. I'm not sure what that is, the Happy Lights wash. But just to let you know, LEDs actually do not take a lot of power. That they're all like energy efficient. So imagine every single one of my bulbs here, every single one is like 7 watts. When I could be running one incandescent bulb at 100 watts. Yeah, so how many bulbs can I, or how many bulbs will it take to reach to 100 watts if I'm going by 7 watt increments? At least 70, right? So meaning like every single LED light bulb that I have here won't, like, all the electricity to light my entire scene right now is not equivalent to 100 watt bulb. That's pretty nuts. Because I think I do have a pretty good amount of light bulbs, but yeah, they're all like 7 watts. The max watts that I have now are the 2 that I just added, which are 15. So 30 between the 2 of them. Yeah. I'm nowhere near that. Probably like around 50 watts for my total. And that's actually what matters when it comes to electrical consumptions. How many watts you're actually pulling. Not the voltage. Says that's what it looks like when he speaks to Doc. When it's all bright. Yeah, because that's like, all of these are voice controlled as well. So I just speak to my phone. So like right now, this blue light over here is over Aiden's bed. So that's called Aiden's light. So I will just tell my phone, I go, I'm going to say the magic word, so I'm going to mute myself. Turn off Aiden light. And that light just turned off. So that if at any time Aiden were need to take a nap and I need to do anything and I just didn't want to cast an extra light onto him, I'll just put him to bed and then just turn off that light so that it doesn't bother him. Everything is voice controlled through my phone. That's why it's so convenient for me to have all of these. Says, yeah, also they are LEDs, so like little to no heat. I don't feel any heat at all. And that's my sincerity. Like, they do produce a little bit of heat, right? All electrical components do, right? Especially light emitting diodes. That's what LED stands for. But at the same time, not enough that you would actually feel it. Like I do, because of it, I'm able to turn off my air conditioning for these live streams and actually just like not melt while I do it. So. Oh, that's what Charles just said. Charles beats me to it. He's very, very knowledgeable. All right, so let's just keep going. Kevin, thank you for stopping by. Never late, bro. Always on time. Says beautiful is better than a small 24. Okay, I think we're talking about something that I missed. Okay, let me just go through these. Okay, we have a question. Question, how did I mount these new lights? That's a good question. Actually, because of my desk. So let me try to get that over angle here. Okay, let me see if I can get this for you. That's the first one. This is part of my magnetic desk. So basically, I just have some magnets stuck underneath. Kind of like this, right? This is just a magnet. And because of the metal that it's on the base, I literally just have it magnetized to my cage. So I can rock it and it's not gonna fall. Let's see if I can. Now that's my PlayStation and game console setup there. That's my shelf. But then over here, oh, I'm losing it. There we go. Just above, as you can see, those are the two lights. That light that's hanging here. That's the sunset light. That's the one that's casting the major light, that pink array that you can see. And that other light is the flood lamp that's casting the blue in the same direction. As you can see, is just hung by, how would you say that? I actually just put those U-clips onto the board, and that's what's holding that rod in place. So that's a full behind the scenes. So let me go back here. So that answers your question. I just need to fix my overhead camera again. Well, right there, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get there. Let's see how I did. Not the same exact angle, but we'll work with it. All right, let's go back to the questions here. Sly says she loves the Aiden cam. Let's see where he's at right now. What's he doing? Just watching TV. God, I love that boy. That's kind of cool. I get to like just peep in on him as well, just while I'm doing the live stream and see what he's up to. You know, instead of doing one of these, I can just check on him with a little camera there. So I do agree. I think that was a good idea. Okay, John says nice light setup. I have Philips Hue Bridge switch outlets, and it's handy to turn the lights on and off while on the stream deck. Absolutely. Okay, Lewis has a question, or 3 of them. Says, how do you make your skin so clear you got skincare routine? Lewis, I am sorry for laughing, because the reason why is because that couldn't be further from the truth. Like a skincare routine, absolutely not. So I appreciate the compliment, but like nothing, man. Soap and water. I've just been using more natural soaps as of late, and but that's honestly, that's just been this year. You know, that's just been since I've been grooming my beard and just trying to not use, like, what was it that I was using before? Old Spice, you know, like men's body wash. So instead of using that's just all chemicals and stuff, using more natural soaps, things like that. Getting products from so many amazing companies in the bearded community. But that's basically it. Nothing out of this world. So, you know, I would even say I would just say nothing at all. The only routine that I have is mostly for my beard, not for my skin. So thank you, though. Says, I like the double screen. Oh, okay, cool. So the new scene with the double screen. So that's working pretty good. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to the switching while I go through these messages. Says Richard saying that he will be in Miami again Memorial Day weekend, and the following week of that as well. Actually, you know what? We're talking about lights, right? We're talking about lights. What do I sometimes forget, and I'm remembering right now? Bam! Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch. So, this week's installment of Cities Gaw has something to do with lights. And there we go. Today we're talking Tommy Calloway. Tommy Calloway is a channel that I found a long time ago. Friends with another channel that I've featured here, which was Josh Yo from the channel Make Art Now. They're friends. They live in California, but Tommy's channel, as you can see, Lights and Stuff, is basically based around lighting, and it's kind of like his thing. It's his niche. But in all sincerity, because of it, I've learned a lot about the newer lights and the technologies that are coming up with lighting and what's available as far as the technology because of his content. So definitely a channel that if you're looking to find out in that aspect what's coming out, what's the like newer lights, how they were compared, he really gets pretty technical with his information, especially when he's comparing a lot of these lights. So as always, I recommend you check him out if this is something that you're interested in. Is a channel that I'm subscribed to, and he used to actually have a live stream. Haven't seen it for a while. So Tommy, if you hear this, you know, when you coming back with Getting Lit on Wednesday nights, and he actually sold me a gimbal. So a while back here, I used to have a gimbal on top of my fridge right over there that would be part of the shot, and I bought it from him. Now, one thing that I learned after I bought the gimbal, I practiced with it. I learned the moves. I was using it to get shots, and I think I mentioned this like a couple weeks ago or last week, that I then found out that I realized that I kind of preferred the handheld shots that I used to get before gimbals were a thing. So I don't know if it's my personal signature or anything like that, but I do like hand holding my B-roll footage. And if done correctly with slow motion, high frame rates, you should be fine. And I like the end result that I'm getting that way. So that's what I've been doing. So even though I bought it from him, I sold it for the same price that I bought it, and I moved it on to somebody who was going to use it because it was just collecting dust. And that's basically my Tommy Callaway story. So once again, a channel that I think you should go watch if you're interested in lights and learning more about like the technical aspects and the outputs of these new devices. So there we go. Okay, let's go back here. Boom. All right, so just scrolling through to see if I see any excuse me, see if I see any questions. Says, you've established your lighting as part of your brand, says Carlos from Motivated Minds. Yeah, and that's part of the same reason why I chose the same gradient for all of my thumbnails. So if you go to my channel, that you would see that my thumbnails hold the same type of, familiar. Can I get this word out? Familiarity? I'm not sure that one came out right. But that they have the same theme, the same scheme. You should be able to easily recognize them. They, like Doc Rock was talking about this as well. And, even YouTube, you start going through analytics and they'll tell you a good click-through rate. Good click-through rate is like between 2 to 9%. And I'm like around a 5. So I'm right there. The highest click-through rate type of thumbnails tend to reach like 19%. So that should just give you a good idea of what a good click-through rate is. And because of me just trying a bunch of different things, this has been kind of like the most consistent and the most relevant to what I actually produce. Now, I even thought, believe it or not, that like let me take my face out of the thumbnail, right, and just put the product on there with the same color scheme, so on and so forth, highlight the product. And believe it or not, like just faces in the thumbnail just worked better. Just having eyeballs there is just something that people are naturally attracted to. So the more eyeballs that you can have in a thumbnail, and not like in a creepy way. It's not just to put a bunch of them everywhere, you understand? But the more faces, the more eyeballs that you can put into a thumbnail, the higher the success rate just seems to be. Like even when I see like a thumbnail like saying like, we asked these 5 creators, on the YouTube platform, and they just have them all kind of like in the middle of a word and just kind of going like and you have 5 different faces, 10 eyeballs up there, clicks galore. So just a little bit of a tip. Okay. Okay, so we're just going through. Gretchen saying, thanks for the behind the scenes information. I like the DIY mount. Everything that I've done is DIY. Believe it or not, like going back to it, my camera sits here on an articulating arm and it's floating. And because I didn't want just like all the added weight of the monitor, teleprompter, and everything that's added to it, I then added these paracord like just braces so that they could actually just hold the extra weight and another articulating arm coming from the bottom of my camera to actually hold the monitor in place correctly. So that's just floating here, and it's all part of the same cage system, which is the same cage that's holding up this light, that's holding up my monitors, that's doing the whole thing. Even, you know, right here it's got my overhead camera, right? Boom, overhead cam. So all of that is included and like hung on this metal cage. So kind of like Tommy Lee, you know, the drummer. It has just like that drumming cage. This is kind of like my camera live streaming cage. All right, so where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. Wow, buddy, that was loud. Okay. He's saying Tommy has the knowledge, so Lewis is familiar with him. And then we're back here. And Lewis, I would appreciate if you put a Q because that would help me see them. I almost missed this question. It says, how do I make my thumbnails? I make my thumbnails on CANVA. Believe it or not, because I have a particular type of style for my thumbnails, I make them in CANVA. But this is one thing that I have been doing of late, which is, if you look at today's thumbnail, I'm literally wearing this shirt in that thumbnail because of the simple reason that like while I'm doing all the setup, I have this setup. I turned on all the lights. I kind of like moved the microphone out of the way, right? So that it's not in the shot. And then I record like 1 minute of me doing an expression, emotion, like, oh, the light bothers me, because I think that's what I did today. You know, like if I'm confused, I'll just be like, oh, I'm confused, right? And the thing is that because it's not a particular photo and it's just a small video file, you're able to get that little micro expression, you know, that perfect moment of like, you know, of confusion. So with that 30-second video, as soon as I'm done recording it, I open it up, and as I'm watching it on QuickTime Player, as I'm watching it, I just take the playhead until I find that perfect expression of me going, eh? And once I have the one that I want, and I'm like, that's the thumbnail shot, I will then screenshot that, and that becomes a small little JPEG onto my desk. Take that JPEG and throw it right into CANVA, cut out the background, and then throw that onto my template, which already has my color gradients built in. So as soon as I open up CANVA, I have a file which is a template, which has no text, no pictures, no nothing, but it just has the color gradient, which is the background, that is the key like linking thing, which is the color scheme of the brand of MrCameraJunkie. So that being the base, I then throw everything on top of it and switch it up, whether it's the cameras, the text overlay, how I decide. And as soon as you put a picture with an expression like this in CANVA and you got it and you're like, right? As soon as you got it in there, then it's gonna always be there, and you could always go back to it for another thumbnail to use that face or expression in a completely different, you know, thumbnail for a completely different subject matter. So okay, Charles has a question. Says, what is the percentage of subscribers that actually log into live streams? Like, for example, you have over 1,200 subscribers, you have 13 viewers on the live stream. Why do you think this is the percentage? Well, because this live stream is not for the subscribers of the channel, and that's basically it. So, you know, if it were to be like that, you know, I actually like think about those types of things myself, but the percentages are pretty much in line, because the subscriber amount has to do with mostly my pre-recorded content, not my live streams. But my live streams is what I do for me. And like I've mentioned here on a weekly basis, that this is like the highlight of my week, and that I thank all of you for always hanging out here with me, because this is so much fun for me to do, right? But then you compare my 1,000 subscribers to 13, 12 viewers that we have right now, right? That percentage seems to be on point when you really look at it into like the 1% scale. I see like Nick Nimmin's live stream. He's about to reach 100,000 subscribers, and he has about 300 in his live streams weekly, and he has his weekly live stream. Linus from Linus Tech Tips, he has a weekly live stream. He has, I believe, 15 million subscribers, and yet you'll see him running around. And he actually has a devoted following because he has multiple channels. So it's way more than 15 million. But just going from the Linus Tech Tips channel, 15 million subscribers on that channel, and he'll have, like, I believe around 1,500 viewers on his live stream for like on the weekly. I think he could be at 15,000, but when you compare that he's at 15 million, you start seeing that even 15,000 live viewers is actually one of the better live streams that I've seen. So, I always give it up to Linus for that, because you actually don't see high percentages. And Nick Nimmin, who has a weekly live stream as well, is constantly saying that he loses subscribers every time he has a live stream, because they subscribe for his pre-recorded content, which he does provide, and then when they see him doing a live stream, they just like bounce. But in that same kind of form of thought is also why I'm doing this as well, because I've also seen a bunch of creators who have all the plaques and all the accolades that you hypothetically would want on this platform to say, hey, you're doing an excellent job, and they have millions of subscribers, and yet they don't know anybody's name. They don't know any of them, because they've never done a live stream, and they're completely segregated and disconnected from their actual audience. The only information that they have from their audience is not a conversation or a chat on a weekly basis here. It is literally the statistics that they get from YouTube and the YouTube Studio application. So then they'll come here and be like, like, I have no idea, I have no way to connect, and they feel like, I wouldn't want to say how they feel, right? What they have mentioned is that they feel unsatisfied or out of touch with their own audience, because they've never created the avenue to actually have that connection with them, to actually have that type of conversation, to actually know his audience's name. So in that manner, right, I also know, and this is speaking like legit, right, I'm a camera channel. If I wanted all of those accolades, if I wanted all of those numbers, I can go ahead and just invest in about like a $200 lens, and then start doing giveaways on my channel, which will then start creating the hype and the clout that will then have people subscribing to my channel, because there's a potential for a prize in it. And then what I can continue to do is to continue to work in that rat race, to continue have another prize and another prize lined up, to continue to reach these arbitrary metrics, right? These vanity metrics, and have my channel and have the plaque and say I accomplished. Yet throughout that entire journey, I have gained nothing in like personal growth. I have nobody, like I've met nobody along the way, and when I reach those goals, I literally feel alone, because I did it alone. comparative to me, and like Heather Ramirez has mentioned this as well. Tom Buck, like the air fryer emporium, which is exactly what I feel that we're building here with this community, the community of camera junkies. That, like Doc Rock says, cheers, the place where everybody knows your name and that you feel home, right? Like, hey, this is a group of like good individuals and like-minded individuals where we get to hang out on a weekly basis and meet up in a safe space, a space where we're not talking about politics and all the other things that could be going on in the world, but we talk about things that we have fun with and that we are interested in and get to know each other better. So it's a slow growth, but it's, to me, the correct growth, because it's like putting one foot in front of the other, right? Another creator that I've mentioned here is Sarah Dici. She had slow growth, right? Until her own community, which was like when I think she was like maxing out like at 10,000 subscribers, because it was a slow growth, right? Because it was her peachy fam, how she always says. Shout out to Sarah Dici, her and John Hill, because of her I found her fiance's channel, which he's a skateboarder and artist, and believe it or not, I don't follow any other skateboarder, but I follow John Hill because I was able to build kind of like that relationship and getting to know him a little bit more because of Sarah Dici's channel. So that's the same thing that like I feel that I'm trying to, or that I am doing here, which is building that relationship equity that most channels don't have. So they can have all the plaques and they can have all the accolades and all the numbers, yet I actually know my community, which is very different. So I will continue to put out content in the pre-recorded form, right? And that's for the masses, so to speak. But then I have this small group of selected few that come and meet me in my Club Camera Junkie on a weekly, and that is more valuable to me than any metric, any vanity number, anything at all. And when I hear people talk about like, oh, because I was able to do this with like these numbers, and that's the whole thing. It really, I am a prime example of, Tom and Heather's air fryer emporium, because in a short amount of time and with a small, relevant to the other creators, small amount of subscribers on my channel, just like breaking 1,200 right now, I've already been able to use the platform to change major aspects of my life, totally starting a completely new business because I looked at it correctly. And then you have channels with 500,000 subscribers that have no idea how to monetize and literally are complaining that they can't get enough money from Google AdSense to buy groceries because they're reliant on everything that has to do with Google and the platform, and they're not using it as the stage that it is. So Marga, if she's still here, we were talking earlier today, and she does stand-up comedy, and I always refer to stand-up comedians a lot when it comes to this, because I did stand-up comedy. I did an open mic night. I might have mentioned it here before, and when I did it, there's so many requirements that you have to do. Like you have to show up on a Wednesday night. You only get 5 minutes. You don't you're told where you are in the lineup, so you could be thrown all the way in the back, and you need to ask 10 friends to show up in person and then buy drinks, because it's a 2-drink minimum. So they're investing money in their drinks and in the time so that you can go do that for 5 minutes. And like I said, I did all of those things, yet YouTube is such an amazing platform that I'm able to host 3-hour live streams on a Saturday night and have people here hanging out. And it's like, this is like the ultimate. Like, you can make whatever you want out of it. So if you were a stand-up comedian who was struggling to get stage time anywhere on an open mic, and they're telling you, hey, you have to go to the back of the line, so to speak, you can take it upon yourself and go prime time every Friday and do your set and do your comedy and come out with your jokes, and nobody's here to stop you. So with that same type of mentality is the way that I attacked this platform, and I'm doing it in a manner that's going to create longevity for me, because I can do something in a manner which I will then eventually detest, or I can then do something in a manner where it's the highlight of my week and it's 75 weeks without an issue, and it's next week is going to be 76, and we're just going to keep rolling, because there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing my live stream that I love to do so much. So I appreciate the question, right? And it's amazing, but I hope that explains my thoughts on this, and just lets you know that, like, you guys are my algorithm, right? The people who are here. And that's why when who was it? It was someone who asked. Oh, it was Art Carrasco, who asked the question about, like, the subject of the live stream of work-life balance, and that ended up being like a really good stream. And I am grateful for Art for, you know, asking that to be the subject matter, because it was beneficial for both myself and I know all of you who are in the Camera Junkie crew, and a lot of people who saw it afterwards. So like I said, I'm listening to the people who are here with me and making the most of, like, the now, and the people who are here, the people who are present, right? I'm not paying attention to the loud minority, so to speak, even though in this case they're the majority when it comes to numbers. Yep. All right. Okay. I'm gonna skip this one, Lewis. Okay, the skin clearing and the audio so crispy. I'm just letting you know that that's why I'm laughing, because I'm trying to catch up to this. Kevin says live streams help build connection with the community, with those of us who are here every week, and we all get to know each other and see everyone each week. Awesome. He said it so much nicer and faster. Kevin, I should have just read this. I was like, let me see if Kevin has the answer to what I'm thinking. Richard is here. What's up? Okay, so Gretchen is saying live streams rather than a party with 13 people. You want to talk with 1,000 people who just want free food. Exactly, right? Like, going back to it, I know that I can build the channel in no time and just get it to blow up and get all of these, like, arbitrary numbers, because at the end of the day, that's not gonna be my Camera Junkie crew. Those are just the passerbys, the ones like, what can you do for me? The whiffum people, right? And that's when you hear the saying that, what was the saying? Oh, I'm gonna butcher it, right? That's what I do, right? Butcher sayings. People who care. No, see, I'm butchering it. People who matter don't care, and people who care don't matter, or reverse it. But is of that premise. So people who are complaining don't matter, and the people who matter aren't the ones who are complaining, right? So that's that. Says, okay, so this is another question, but bro, please put a Q, man. He put it right underneath. Forgot the Q's. Okay. It's just I have a dimmed screen, so I'm really looking out for those cues to make sure that it's just not conversations. It says, who are some channels that you watch or enjoy? I've mentioned him before. I was gonna put him on the Cities God channels that I think you should go and watch. It was funny because I was gonna put him on today, so he's kind of like what is it called, the honorable mention, but he's gonna be on the list. I've mentioned him as Harry Mack. He's a freestyle rapper. Harry, M-A-C-K, Mac. He's got a series called Omegle Bars. The guy is phenomenal when it comes to just creating things on the fly. He's got a skill, and when people just say, how do you do it, to him it's just like having a conversation. So the same way that you'll be able to just speak with anyone once you meet them, he'll be able to do that, but in a rap and song form. And what really impresses me with him and why I find him extremely entertaining is that he's got just amazingly positive energy. And even though he's doing that, all of his songs, they pretty much sound polished. They sound mastered almost. Like, you can take his songs that he does on this platform, Omegle, and on this series, and just cut CDs, because the music is just that good. Like, the whole sound production is so good, and that he's doing this live for people. He's got a couple of series, because he also goes and does this on the streets with like a JBL speaker and just some beats on his phone, and he's just like walking around with beats and cameras following him as he raps for people, as he's talking about the things that are happening as people are walking by, and he's just referencing things that are going on in real time. And he's just an amazing talent. He's just a channel that I really like, just enjoy watching. So if it's downtime for MrCameraJunkie, that it's not like edutainment, right, but it's just entertainment completely, is Mr. Harry Mack. Okay, so Charles has another question here. It says, does YouTube use different algorithms for uploaded videos than live streams? They do, actually. And most people don't think that. They think it's a algorithm, but YouTube has hundreds of algorithms, and that's why there's a difference already, in that you don't really need to separate short videos from oh wow, thank you, someone. Right, I think something just happened. Am I missing something here? Okay, I heard something, but I guess I'm mistaken. Okay, anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, that there are a bunch of different algorithms, right? There's like, before that you would have to like create a separate shorts channel for it, but it's now it's all in tune, so anything that you do on the short shelf or anything like that really isn't going to get affected directly to the rest of your videos. That's why pre-recorded videos are different than the live streams, and that's why the crossover is always difficult. And pretty soon you will also be seeing the differentiating factor in the same way, or the different algorithm, because podcasting and video podcasting is going to be probably the next biggest push when it comes to YouTube and the platform. So if this was something that you were thinking about doing, I would highly recommend you start hitting the gas now and getting things going, because podcasting and video podcasting is going to be a very, very big thing. The reason why I recommend video podcasting is two main reasons, which is, first of all, we're on YouTube. So YouTube is a video platform, meaning visuals first. So you can create a short video on YouTube, and this short video on YouTube, you don't have to say a word. You can literally just show scenery and stuff like that, and you can have a bunch of engagement, people just wondering like, oh, what's gonna happen, so on and so forth, because the visuals are there, and visuals are first. Like, then audio is highly important, because like I said, bad audio is unwatchable. So if it sounds like crap, no matter how good it looks, you're not gonna be able to like just get through it to actually watch it. And then yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue. All right, I was saying something, but that I heard something over here and it threw me off, I swore. But hey, like, I digress. Says, so good knowing your community one stream at a time. Yeah, and that's the other thing, you know, coming to this. Oh, that didn't even show up. Carlos put that. So good knowing your community one stream at a time. Yeah, and the other thing is that I'm building this up from the ground up. So the day that I do get right to being, you know, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers, and I get my silver play button and get things going, I will know my community. And that's something that I learned from like the Linus Media Group and his weekly live stream as well, because he's been doing it for years and he's been slowly building it up, that now he's at 15,000 subscribers. But then I'll tell you the truth, this guy, it's crazy. He's got such a devout following. It is crazy. Like, they ask him for merchandise. Like, there was this thing that happened on Reddit, Reddit Place. I don't know if you're familiar with it. If you are, then thank you for following with me, because to explain Reddit Place and our place right now is gonna be a half an hour. But the Our Place was reopened and it went like viral on Reddit for like a week or so. I think that's how long that they opened up the Our Place for. And there was so much that was changing, like minute per minute, that his entire community went over there and created a banner that says lttstore.com, and they put it in Reddit Our Place, and then they took that design that the community built on that platform and then slapped it on a t-shirt and pumped that out for his community, and sold out of that shirt within hours. And that's like, he's not doing it to like build revenue. He's literally doing it because his community is asking him for it, because they were the ones who actually made the LTT logo on the Reddit place, on the Our Place. So it's just amazing to see what he's been able to do with this platform, and because he's taken a different approach. So I take those little tidbits from so many different creators on the platform, and I'm just doing it like my own way, you know, not doing it to get vanity metrics or anything like that, but just to build the community the way I feel is the right way. Okay, so she is still here, so hopefully you heard that thing about the comedians, because I also do feel that the comedians are like, it's hard to be a comedian, right? Because let's just compare comedians to musicians. A musician can get a hit song and live for the rest of their lives off of that hit song, and everywhere they go, people would want them to play that hit song exactly the way that they remember it. They don't want a remix. They want to hear it exactly the way they want it for nostalgia. Yet every comedian, as soon as you put your set like on film and you make it a HBO special, those jokes can never be said again. You can't go on tour the next year saying the same jokes, because people will literally look at you weird and be like,
Eh?
Like, I heard this joke already. Are you kidding me? Like, I want something new. And when it comes to jokes, their shelf life is like 0, right? You heard it once and it's funny the first time. And if your uncle ends up telling you the same joke following the week, you literally just look at me, I heard it already. And that's like the grind of a comedian, right? Of having to be funny or to be able to perform all the time and a musician gets to literally compose a song and do the same exact thing on repeat forever. Like Kiss is still on tour or something, right? Like, just that's my thoughts. Being a comedian is so much harder than being a musician or a music artist. So agree about the comedy online. It separates great writers from the where you from comics. Would never do a bigger show, such a scam. See? Says, I mentioned looking for a new camera a few weeks ago, and John reached out after the live stream and offered to sell me his. Thank you, John. I never met him but trust him because of the live stream. That is so dope. You see, that is community right there. That is amazing. So that's just gotta give it up to that. Says, do I have a favorite comfort food? Lewis asks. You're killing me with the cues, Lewis. You are, bro. You just killing me, like. And look, I'm scolding you now, but bro, this is not just for my live stream. This is just to be a good internet citizen, as we call them, the netizens, right? And going to other people's live streams, it is just common courtesy to put a cue in front of the question. It makes it easier for everybody. And my favorite comfort food, because you were asking, would actually be arroz con gandules, the way that my mom used to make it. And not like right when it's made, but actually like when it's just reached room temperature and it's just like warm, so to speak, just like warm from being on the stove, not really hot, and go to town. My favorite. And speaking of Mother's Days, it is officially Sunday, May 8th, so happy Mother's Day to everyone who's celebrating. And talking about comfort food, my mom made the best arroz con gandules, so love you, Mom, miss you. Okay, so, is this Joey is in the house? We gotta do that. Joe Enrique, what's up? Me encanta las luces en el background with a heart. This is my cousin Joey. How you doing, Joe? Thanks for stopping by. Gracias por pasar, brother. Says, question, Lewis, do you use your studio lighting ever on outside shoot like wedding, etc.? These lightings, no, because when I'm doing that, I go flash. So I really haven't done like video shoots or wedding videos. You know, like the events that I've done has been photography, and with that I'm going with flash and strobes because I can control it, just get correct exposure and things like that. So when it comes to photography, I will be using speed lights on top of my cameras or just off camera with a excuse me, just off camera with like a stand holding the light and having a remote trigger so that I can move around and change positions, yet the light is going to be consistent. That's more for like a portrait shoot, things like that. So if you're doing an event, and just throwing it out there, like if you're doing like a wedding or something like that, then you might want to get a set of strobes that work in sequence. You could end up using, like, depending on the size of the location, you end up throwing flash or strobes into just basically every corner. So for example, see if we can make this scenario in your mind. A lot of venues tend to have, you know, for weddings and for the reception. For the reception, they tend to have like a dance floor in the middle with the wedding party that would sit at the head of the dance floor, and then tables around said dance floor. In that type of scenario, right, I would tell you to get 4 stands with 4 strobe lights and put one on each corner of the dance floor and have the strobes facing outwards towards the audience, hitting the ceiling at a 45-degree angle. synchronize them together, and have the trigger on your camera, and you should be pretty much set for the entirety of that event. Is just kind of like a simple hack. If the venue could, if it's like not that big that you're able to use that type of scheme for it, you can just be taking photos of people while they're in the tables, and you're just gonna get a strobe of light that's gonna like light up the entire room all together just for that split second, so that you can get the correct exposure on the shot. And it doesn't affect like the mood, it doesn't affect like the dancing, because it almost looks just like a strobe, and it's just like an added effect if you got the DJs going and things like that. So hope that helps. Okay, says I got put in timeout. Not put in timeout, but just understand that it helps us, but it's not you're in live streams all the time, Lewis, so I see you in them all the time. Know that that's gonna help you out and help your questions get answered no matter which live stream you're in. Okay, so well, as you know, I do remote live streaming, but I have an example. I think less than 90 subscribers, but when I stream I may end up with up to 300 plus watching the live stream. That also has to do with the content, Charles, because if you're streaming a concert or an event and something that people want to see because it's, you're covering the event, you're going to get those types of numbers. But the whole thing is, out of those 300 people watching, how many are you conversing with? How many are you, like, how many of them are part of your Camera Junkie crew? And if you got all 300, then dude, more power to you. But that just all depends. So it has to do with the type of live stream, the content, so on and so forth. But I'm into the air fryer emporium type of crowd, so it will definitely be part of like the slow growth, and knowing that the people that are part of this community are are actually part of this community. So okay. So Margaret's saying, haha, yes, nobody wants to hear a joke twice. She says, I actually have a bit about that. I guess about the comedians versus rock and roll stars. I wouldn't doubt it. Thanks for stopping by, Lewis. I don't know if you're leaving, but always appreciate you. So I'm going to start timeouts. Okay. Does Aiden have a favorite food too? Aiden? No, not really. Not a favorite. Not something I wish I had something that I can say that I could always go to, that no matter what he would always eat. But no. Hey, Norm made it. How are you doing, Norm? Welcome to the stream. A pleasure to have you here. Okay, Albert's here saying hi and happy Saturday. And I've reached the bottom of the comments. So now, for everyone who's here, as always, thank you always for taking the time and hanging out with me. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button. Highly appreciated. But if you do have a question or a comment, like, please put it in now. We're 22 minutes past the hour, and I'm going to be closing things out. Let's see if we have one more shot of Aiden. There's Aiden. Aiden, say hi. The Aiden cam one more time. And I will just give it a minute there, to see if you guys actually get something in. But as always, I want to thank you all for hanging out here. Like I said earlier in the stream, and I mention every week, this is the highlight of my week. This is the place that I would want to be. This is where I want to hang out, and I am lucky enough to have so many of you to come join me on a weekly basis, and it means the world to me. This is so much fun to do, to play with this equipment, to get different angles, to, add the Aiden cam, boom, as he hanging out there just chilling, and running my setup here, boom. And I do this because there's no other place that I'd rather be than here. And like I spoke about, building this amazing community of camera junkies, and I just sit here in awe, and just because to think, like 2 years ago, I would have never thought that me live streaming on a weekly basis would have been like the thing, right? So, I even take it back to a lot of people that are like TikTok famous right now, that they're just like blowing up on these new social platforms. And I'm like, TikTok wasn't even a thing 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't even a thing. Like, and yet now people are just getting like immense followings and changing their lives with a simple platform. So the potential of social media and these platforms is pretty much limitless, but it just depends on the way that you look at it. It's like you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. But if you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business. And that's really, really good advice. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, yep, it just looks like everyone is saying bye and good night, saying happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Yep. It's Sly's birthday? Did I miss that? If it is your birthday, happy birthday, Sly. Happy Mother's Day and happy birthday. Talking about that, because that's what Norm just said here. Next Saturday, forgot to mention, next Saturday happens to be the 14th of May. And the 14th of May happens to be this guy's birthday. So, next week, week number 76 of the Camera Junkie live stream is going to be the birthday stream. What? All the sound effects. There we go. So, there we go. Happy birthday to me. I'm going to be 41 years old, man. That's like, that's just official. So, getting things going. So let me know what you think, if you thought that was my age. I know I got a lot of gray hair, but I just still like find it funny because I guess people don't think that I'm of that age, but I am, and I'm happy to be so, because I was very happy to be born in the 80s. But I'll be talking about that a little bit more next week, about all that nostalgia stuff. So, Sly, happy birthday. It will be my birthday next week. Talking about that, Images by Gretchen. Gretchen, I believe it's your birthday, what was it, on the 17th, right? So let me know if it's the 11th or the 17th, because I also have, I have so many family members who are also born in this month. My younger sister, she's on the 16th. She has 2 children who are also born in May. Okay. She has her oldest daughter, Ariana, who was just on the 5th. And I believe her son, who we've nicknamed Macho, if I remember correctly, I think he's the 9th. Then I have my niece, which is the 11th. But then I could be mixing up those 2 dates right there. So it could be that Jocelyn's on the 9th and that Macho's on the 11th. Or was he on the 15th? That's what I'm telling you. Like, if I'm not looking at my calendar on this month, forget it. I'm SOL when it comes to that. So, but I'm just going to leave that there. Gretchen's got a birthday this month. My birthday's next week. It looks like Sly's birthday's as well. So just such amazing people all are Tauruses. So that's good to know. That is good to know. Gretchen is saying this is not the future that I imagined 6 months ago. Yes, and you know what? Here we go. Wow, that was loud, buddy. That is from Gretchen. Gretchen, I believe tonight was episode or live stream 178, if I am correct. 178 days of consecutive live streaming, and that's why she says that this is not the future that she imagined 6 months ago, because 6 months ago she wouldn't even have thought that she would be live streaming every single day and crushing it as she does it. So thanks for stopping by. Okay, so we're saying good night. See, Richard's saying the same thing. It says, oh, question. Albert saying, how long did it take me to get to 1,000 subscribers? In all sincerity, about a year. Basically, last year was where I took it from like 100 subscribers to 1,000 subscribers. Just last year. So right now, this year's been a little bit slower when it comes to the growth, which I'm fine because it's not something that I control, right? But right now it's just still climbing, like that slow growth, kind of like the tortoise and the hare. This channel is more like the tortoise. Like, we know it's a marathon. I know it's a marathon. It's gonna be a slow growth, and it's just a grind. It's just gonna go there. And the more that I continue to just show up and continue to just provide value, then the rest is gonna take care of itself. Okay, so everyone's saying have a great week. Charles says he thought I was 28. I really hope that that's true, but I think you're trolling me a little bit. It says, my baby brother, dang, you are a baby. Oh, so I guess people are still considering me young? Oh, that's so sweet of you. Todd made it. How you doing, sir? Todd, Christmas Clatter. Thanks for stopping by, bro. I appreciate you. It says, gosh, you can be my grandpa, says Charles. Not so much, but maybe father, because my dad's still getting up there in age, you know? It says, yes, I'm the 17th, and I have 25 years on you. My daughter's 38th was on the 15th. Also in May? Because that would be dope. That just goes to show you. So Lou says, we're back? No, man, we're closing out. It says, have a wonderful weekend. Says still pretty young, and we appreciate you. Have a great week all. Yep. Oh, so it was 171. She just corrected me. 171. I'm loving every minute. Okay, I gave you a couple of days, but next Saturday you're gonna be at exactly that number at 178. So I guess I was just ahead a week. But thank you always for hanging out. As like I said, you guys make all of this possible. You guys make it so amazing week in and week out. So I thank you as always. But with that being said, we're gonna be heading out, so take care of yourselves. Remember that we're gonna be doing it next week, same time, same place, 11 o'clock, Camera Junkie live stream, and I can't wait to see you here. Till next time.